The 19th century actor Edmund Kean supposedly said on his deathbed, "Dying is easy, comedy is hard." Harder still is the combination of dying and comedy, which is what we saw in Nicky Silver's The Lyons. In spite of the subject matter, Silver's comedy about dying was outrageously funny in the recent staging by Max and Louie Productions, thanks to the excellent work of director Wayne Solomon and his entire cast. This year, Solomon proved himself to be the master of works where achieving the right tone is tricky. In January, he directed Edward Albee's The Goat, or Who is Sylvia, which is about a man who falls in love with a goat. This premise is laughable until it isn't. The mixture of humor and horror was ideally judged under Solomon's direction, and so was the approach to deathbed humor in The Lyons. The play opens with Ben Lyons dying of cancer in a hospital bed. Ben is enraged by his condition, but his cantankerous eruptions were hilarious in Bobby Miller's performance, which was the work of a master. If you're wondering why you're only seeing a still picture of Miller, he had to bow out of the production after only 2 performances because of a condition that put him in a real hospital bed. He's on the mend, I'm happy to report, but beginning on the night our clips were shot, Miller's part was taken over by Wayne Solomon. Our videographer, Dan Kelly, told me that Solomon was terrific too, in spite of the trying circumstances. The first object of Ben's outbursts is his wife, Rita, who was taking her husband's illness calmly. A little too calmly, it seems at first, and then way too calmly. She's reading a magazine looking for ways to redecorate the home Ben loves just the way it is. Sharing how easy it is for her to move on turns out to be the most malicious thing Rita can do to Ben. The amazing thing about Judy Mann's marvelous portrayal was the absence of malice in what Rita says. If Rita sounded as monstrous as she is, we'd lose all the astonished laughter that comes from recognizing the chasm between her soothing tone and her inflammatory intent. The Lyons' cubs eventually join their parents in the hospital room. Lisa is a precariously recovering alcoholic with an abusive marriage in her past and an ex-husband not quite in her past. Lisa could have been a cliche, but wasn't, thanks to Megan Maguire's flair for projecting oversized emotions and then changing them in an instant. When Lisa lapses into an old habit, Maguire was extraordinarily convincing and funny. Charlie Barron is the Lyons' gay son who disappointed his father in many ways, but especially by changing his name to Curtis from Hilly, which was Ben's father's name. Curtis has trouble forming attachments, which is hardly surprising considering his family. He's the focal point of the second act, and Barron was fully up to the challenge of bringing some hope to the bleak picture drawn by the play. In Act 2, Aaron Orion Baker portrayed a real estate agent who shows an apartment to Curtis in a scene where the subtext claws its unnerving way to the surface. Baker once again demonstrated his mastery of understatement that forces the audience to enter into his thinking. Julie Layton was first-rate as the no-nonsense nurse who has to tame the Lyons. The production was admirably supported by Justin Barasonic's set design, Peggy Knox props, Kevin Reed's costumes, Maureen Berry's lighting, and Amanda Weir's sound. What a great ending to the season that just concluded.
True, true.